don't know if you're like me or not, but when I have a childhood memory or think back to something that really made me happy, I want to repeat it. I guess it just comes with maturing. My aunt and uncle, by their dairy barn, had an old apple tree. It was a bunkum apple, which comes from the 19th century, and my aunt would pick those apples every fall and peel them and dry them, and throughout the entire winter she would make the most delicious fried pies. And as a matter of fact, she still does. And she took budwood off of that very bunkum tree and grafted some apple trees for me for the orchard here. And what I've done now is created an orchard of heritage variety apples. If you think about it, you go to the grocery store these days, you see Red Delicious, Golden Delicious, Gala, maybe Braeburns, certainly Fuji's, of course Granny Smith, maybe a couple other varieties, and that's it. Now, in the 19th century and even before, there were hundreds of apple varieties to choose from, each having its own delicious, unique flavor. Now, what I'm doing here is creating a small heritage apple orchard so I can enjoy some of those flavors of the past and at the same time preserve the important budwood or the genetics of these trees for future generations. Now, what I love about these apple trees is that in the orchard we're mixing them up with crab apples. They're ornamentals, they produce a tiny fruit, but what I love about them is the profusion of bloom that you see in the spring with a crab apple. So out here I've mixed some ornamentals along with some of these old fruit-bearing varieties. Now what we have here is a little crab apple, one of my favorites. This one's called Narragansett. And you can see the winter fruit is still hanging on it, and some of the birds have really enjoyed it. And the buds are beginning to swell, and what I like to do this time of year is come in here and clean out lots of these little tiny twigs that you see coming off the trunk like that. I don't take out any major limbs. I just try to kind of clean it up, as you can see here, just snipping off little limbs that are about the size of a pencil or under. The other thing we do is we put dormant oil on them to try to suffocate any insects and keep any fungal problems down. And if you look down here, you may say, what is this funny looking thing? Well, these are tree bags that we use around the base of any young tree we plant. And we can keep water in there, we can put vitamins and nutrients, and it will slowly leak out around the base of the tree and feeding those roots. And I will tell you, given the droughts we've had the last couple of years, it was only because of these bags we were able to keep the orchard alive through the heat of summer, and it's doing very well now. Now, I want to say this about these trees. I don't let anything go to waste. All of these twigs that I'm cutting off, we'll bundle them together, and I love to cook chicken over fruit wood. The flavor is excellent. So the twigs get used in the kitchen for cooking, and of course these glorious apples are eaten fresh and also dried just like Aunt Jenny. I don't know if I can ever come up to making fried pies like she can.